Hello, everyone, and to the Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to another one of my live streams, and welcome to In Your Face. Uh, Thank you, dear. Boy, that was messed up. I kind of, sort of there, Chin. We were having a little technical malfunctions there. Sorry about that. Everything's fine. Um, Good to see you. Today is going to be one of those live streams that we got to talk, folks. We got to talk big time. And I hope a few of the people, how you doing, Dr. Kids? Welcome to the live stream. We are we're gonna hammer out some issues tonight that happened from the live stream. Yep, it's back. We had some issues that happened over the weekend that we're going to address today. We're going to have, and I'm basically kind of laying some ground rules that evidently did not get dealt with over the weekend. Real quick before we get underway, at the top of the stream is the. Hang on. Hey Ian, how you doing, buddy? Sorry, I'm trying to pin a link and it's being stupid. But at the top of the stream, you'll notice in the chat there's the link to the Teespring store. If you don't catch it, it's on the page. It's perfectly fine. It's right there. It's easy to get. And this is we're winding down where you'll be able to get your hands on the Project Spirit, say Project Spirit logo merchandise. So that this is it. We're on the. I've extended it like an extra 2 weeks, but that's it. We will be pulling it down, and it goes away, and so basically that'll be vaulted for probably forever. Um, and after that, it's up to us and the occasional dono stream. So, um, we had something happen over the weekend that, without question, was a little weird, and we're going to talk about that today. Basically, what actions are going to be taken, because you know there are certain times that, well, basically, one of my policies on this channel has been and always will be that it is not my responsibility. Hey, what's going on, Mike? I'm still getting caught up on all the BUW stuff. I got to get caught up from last week into this week. It's good to see you. Um, but we had some issues come up over the weekend that have to be addressed, and basically, this is kind of my big declaration that we let me just say right now, okay? The policy of the Prince Magnum channel has been that our content, we don't censor our content. We try to keep it family friendly. In case any of your kids are in the room, we try to keep it as innuendo as possible. Appreciate that, Mike. I'll get caught up. It's just going to take me a minute. But I try to leave my content as family friendly as I possibly can get it. But there are times that my content is not family friendly. Okay. And YouTube has this nasty habit that, um, you know, is it for adult content or is it not? Okay. Well, the problem is, um, even if you mark it as 18 plus, 18 or older only, all it takes is a click of a button and any kid can still watch your content. So what I'm about to say has been my policy, and I will not change this policy, but we're changing a few things around this policy. It is not my responsibility to watch your kids. Okay? If you have teenagers under the age of 17 watching a Cinnamon live stream, it falls on you, parents. Shame on you for not watching your dang kids. Cinnamon live streams is not high school health class. They're not going to be learning, that is not where they need to be getting their sex education. You need to take your ass into a nice quiet spot, sit them down, and teach them sex education. Don't be letting them get into the Cinnamon live stream, okay? That is not where they belong. Oh, let me give you the backstory on that comment right there. Over the weekend, we went to do the Cinnamon live stream. And basically the stream starts and it's going good and everything. What's going on, Daniel? Welcome to the live stream. The whole thing starts and we're I'm kind of doing my thing because I know usually with any of my live streams, unless it's like a big one, a really big one, my live streams usually take about 10-15 minutes for everyone to kind of get there and get packed in. And so I knew that it might be a minute or two. Well, a couple of young ones showed up in the live stream. And when I say young, I mean 11 years old and 14 years old. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that, Daniel. So we had that whole situation where I had, hey, what's going on, J-Dog? I had kids, we're talking early teens and pre-adolescents showing up in a Cinnamon live stream. Now, we all know I act the character of Cinnamon very well, and I have a good time. But I was not having a good time at that point. There you go, J-Dog. Stick around. This is an important message. And I recommend a lot of content creators taking a similar stance. Especially whenever they have, it's supposed to be 18 or older. So basically, the problem is right out of the gate, we had these very young adolescent and pre-adolescent men in a Cinnamon live stream, and one of them was trying to, hey, what's going on, Meowgrid? You definitely want to be here for this one, Meowgrid. I'm glad you're lurky turkey. The problem is that we, again, it is not my responsibility to watch people's kids, okay? 16 years old, I would have been okay. 17, all right, not a problem. Here in the state of Missouri, 17, unless they have mental issues, is legal consent. 18, legal consent, okay, without question. 17, it's kind of a gray area here in Missouri. It's one of those things, if they're living at home and they're of the right mental, if they're not of the right mental status, no, then they're 18 is legal consent. But so I kind of, that sort of thing. But we're talking that these were, 11-year-old and 14-year-old young men basically in a Cinnamon live stream, and one of them was actually trying to interact with Cinnamon and that sort of thing. And it got weird real fast. Ian was there, Princess Faye was there, and again, whenever I'm doing a live stream like that, the problem is that, Cinnamon's supposed to be kind of an unhinged character anyways, but the thing of it is that, again, it is not my responsibility, and I don't teach high school health. I don't teach sex education. Cinnamon's job is just to remind couples to keep it interesting. And, yeah, it was a very weird question. And you could, and Ian actually was like, I can tell Cinnamon's not comfortable. I can tell Cinnamon is very not comfortable. Um, um, the 11-year-old, honey, the 11-year-old basically said, I'm feeling low. Could you help me could you make me feel better? And I'm like, whoa, that may not be where he was going with it, but that's where, in a stream like that, that's where it would, that's where that question usually goes. So that I don't know. It's one of those things I'm not even going to ask because it, just because it's a, more or less, yeah, yeah. And both of these young men, because they're of, technically, to me, pretty much we start treating, the males the way that I've always kind of done it, and I even do it with my son. Well, I'm glad you're here, Miyagrid. I'm glad you're here to kind of catch this. One of the things that I do as a parent, and with because I have a son that's 13, and I would not allow him to watch a Cinnamon live stream until he was at least 16. If he ever asked me any questions about it, but see, I've always started treating, around the age of, 10, you especially start referring to them as young men, unless, because, the whole gender thing that's going on, unless they say different, um, you know, you start treating them like young men because, they're going to be leaving the nest, sometime after the age of 17 or 18. So you start teaching them, right from wrong. You start teaching them the skills that they need to know as a young man. So if you're teaching them to be a young men, you need to start treating them like young men, and you start referring to them as young men. So that's where my policy is. But that being said, they're not old. They're yes, they're young men, but they're not old enough to be in a stream like that. You know, they're not old enough to be in a stream like that. Mainly, the information that you would get in a stream like that is where you. Well, I don't necessarily think she was bullying the Algrid or anybody was bullying. I think it was like he was a little too big for their britches, little too big for their britches, basically. But what Princess Faye, if you guys get what I'm saying, basically, yes, you're a young man, but you're still too young for this. Okay, give it a few more years. Okay, I'm not saying that I don't want you to be a part of the channel, but I'm saying right now you're too young. Oh wow. There you go. But see, what because Ian and Princess Faye do take a really well, obviously Princess Faye. Um, we oftentimes will get together behind the scenes and kind of assist each other with each other's channel. Yeah, I honestly don't think that was her on there asking a question like that. Mike, you feeling sore? I just totally caught that. Yeah. Um, I honestly think that she's just getting, even if it was, they were just being a little too big for their britches, basically. So, what Ian and Princess Faye have talked about and basically have kind of laid out because, to kind of protect Cinnamon, because Cinnamon's an important character, does a lot of important work that sometimes doesn't get talked about. Um, is Basically they came to the conclusion that if it's any of the young ones from, yeah, I'm actually getting ready to kind of talk about that, Ian. Basically, if the young ones show up in a Cinnamon live stream and try to interact, they basically get a suspended for a week from Tuesday Night Madness, both pre-show and main show. Obviously, main show is mainly for adults, anyways. 18 or older adults. And so in this particular case, basically it's like got to protect the character. And when I say that Cinnamon does a lot of work, there's a lot of work that happens with Cinnamon over on, yeah, from many of the Fortnite streams. And I'm going to be enforcing that with Save the World stuff. Yes. But basically Tuesday Night Madness, they're definitely not going to be able to even attend the pre-show, which the pre-show is just kind of for everybody. And then at the same time, yeah, because at that point we're in a situation. It's not our moral situation. It's kind of protecting a character that's been created and has been featured or brought into everybody's attention on a lot of people's channels. Yeah. And again, it's not my responsibility to. Now I'm going to basically say it like this: if they're watching and they're not interacting, I can't help that. Okay? Because again, what's going on, Mikey G? Again, we're actually discussing, if you will, the problem that we're having is basically you've got kids, trying to interact with Cinnamon live stream, and that's a big no-no. Good old Mikey G. So there's the situation. We basically have a situation where there are kids, young, way too young. Yeah, repeat offenders just get banned. So I can't stop them from being in there, because even if you are banned from a channel, okay, you can still sit in that stream and still watch it. Okay, you could do that. Brenda, no, Cinnamon does not need her own channel. Okay, we talked about this like last year when it came up. Cinnamon has her own segment for a reason, because I physically cannot do multiple channels. It is not possible. We do so much on this one alone. It is not possible for me to carry on 2 channels at once. What's going on, Simon? So that is the situation. Cinnamon is a character that, without question, I mean, we do romance on this channel anyways, and really, Brenda, there's 2 sides to romance, okay? The first side everyone's familiar with, okay? And okay, thank you, dear. But basically, if you will, there's 2 sides to romance. The first side is super important for everyone to remember. It is the sweet lovey-dovey side, the side where it's very giving, and the gentleman, and doing all the sweet stuff that we do here on the channel. That's the one side everybody talks about. But then there's the other side, the 3-letter word side of it all. And the situation is that basically Cinnamon live streams are to remind couples that side does exist. Keep it interesting, to keep it, as the title of her segment is, getting spicy with cinnamon. Okay. I'm doing fantastic. So, that being said, I mean, you know, so basically, we're in a situation where I will not put the restrictions on my channel. It is not my responsibility to watch everybody's kids. Um, you know, if you don't want your kids watching a Cinnamon live stream, then watch what they're actually watching. Actually take time out. Put down your freaking cell phones. Stop worrying about, what's going on. Pay attention to what they're paying attention to. Okay? It is not my responsibility to pay attention to, all of that. What's going on, Kevin? So we had that situation. Kevin, it got weird in a Cinnamon live stream, brother. We're actually talking about that. So it is not my responsibility at any stage of the game to watch it, to watch over people's kids. If they need to learn that subject, parents, take your kids into a room and talk about the birds and the bees. Technically, it should not be taught in school anyways. It's a parent's responsibility to at least explain it. Okay. After that, when they become of age, which most of us, yeah. So basically, what has happened is the three of us got together, and now we're kind of talking with kind of Broken Mike, since he kind of runs the pre-show, but he handles the basically, yeah. But basically, what happened is we had some kids show up in a Cinnamon live stream, and one of them started, interacting with Cinnamon, and it got weird really quick. Okay. Everyone know. Okay. Yes, I play the character of Cinnamon. We all know that. Okay. Cinnamon is a character that I play. However, because it is a character that I play, it is also treated as a separate character, a separate person. Cinnamon is her own person. And there is a reason why we even treat it that way. The makeup goes on. The makeup will go on. And the moment that camera or whatever device I'm using goes into record, I become the character of Cinnamon. Prince Magnum goes away. Okay? Prince Magnum at that point does not exist. All right? So the situation is that we basically had, look, I want you, okay, baby, you rest well. I want you guys, yeah, exactly, Mikey G, exactly. So if you will, it's like you're actors. But yeah, a lot of professional wrestlers will tell you that when they walk through that curtain or the camera turns on, they become their character. That wrestler becomes their character. And then when they walk back through the curtain or the camera turns off, a lot of them do turn it off, unless you were Macho Man Randy Savage. The Macho Man, he was always that character. He stayed that character. You didn't have to worry about him ever breaking kayfabe, okay? You never had to worry about it. He never broke kayfabe. He was that character. He was the Macho Man. God, I miss him. Real quick, off topic, but who believes that the Macho Man could have carried the 1980s as well, if not better, than Hulk Hogan? I think he could have done it. I love the Macho Man. That was one of my all-time favorites. Well, they all did back then. But yeah, absolutely. So the situation is that basically if any of the young ones, yeah, yeah, that was the Macho Man. So now that I've said that, basically for me, when the camera turns, when I'm in makeup, the camera turns on, I'm Cinnamon. Okay. Really, I didn't know that one. Uh, that's awesome, man. So now that I've said that, the situation is if you are underage, and I'm not going to put the restrictions on because it's not my, again, it's not my responsibility. But if any of any of our main group shows up in a Cinnamon live stream, because we have to protect that character still, and they try to interact, absolutely, absolutely, Mike. Um, so basically, we have to protect that character. Okay. So even if the kids are in the background, I can't do anything about that. It's not my responsibility. And even turning on that 18 plus thing, all it does is restrict the audience, because some adult stuff has their adult stuff, filters on. But at the same time, the kids can still get in there. It literally says this is an 18 plus stream. Click, and they're right in there. YouTube does not enforce that policy. And if they don't enforce it, then I'm not going to enforce it. Okay? But I'm charging the parents with the responsibility of enforcing it. It's not my responsibility, and technically, it's not YouTube's responsibility. Your responsibility is to turn on those parental controls or take an active role in watching what they watch. Period. It is not the Prince Magnum channel does not take responsibility for what your kids watch. Take an active role, parents. Take an active role. And if you ain't gonna take an active role, why did you have them? And I know there's a lot of parents in here right now that, that watch a lot of the content and they're like, absolutely. And they take active roles. That's why I will say it again and again and again. The Prince Magnum channel, the Maverick Nation, has some of the most diverse and intelligent people within its ranks. I am one of the luckiest content creators in the world because my audience is very intelligent and they get it. Okay? And we come from all walks of life. And earlier I started to mention the good that Cinnamon has done. See, there's me out of it. And I know her little man, she takes a very active role in his life and making sure that he learns what he needs to learn and what he doesn't need to learn until later. It's like, no, you're not ready for that. And I know that she would not allow him to just watch a Cinnamon live stream unless there was an important lesson to be learned. I know that all too well because Margaret and I come from the same age group. Take an active role. So the situation. Oh, your sister's the same exact way? Yeah, so, and let me say right now, we shield, yes, Cinnamon is out there, but we shield Cinnamon for a reason. Because of the fact that, let me say right now, what Cinnamon has done since we started developing the character, and initially we really weren't developing the character, but we were developing the character during the early stages of development. Let me say that Cinnamon is specifically designed these days to remind couples to keep it interesting, and number two, to be a rallying point for the LGBTQIA plus community. That's a lot of initials, folks, and that took a lot for me to get out. But for, if you will, my alphabet mafia, and has been a rallying point even on. Absolutely, third gen, absolutely. And Cinnamon is, has been a rallying point for a lot of that community. What is known as the Alphabet Mafia community now. Also, it's kind of a, right, has been, a rallying point for them. Poor Brenda, did your jaw drop? Uh, you know, so again, it is, that's just the thing. It is not my responsibility to watch your kids. But Cinnamon has been a rallying point for them, even though I'm just an ally, if you will, of the alphabet, the alphabet mafia community. That's too many initials, guys. So if you're in that community, I apologize. It's too many initials, way too many initials, and I get tongue tied trying to do it, and I can rattle it off. Yeah. And honestly, I even believe that when it comes to television. Okay. And let me say right now, okay, my parents, they made a lot of mistakes growing up for me. Okay. They made a lot of mistakes while growing up with me. They, uh, I know they tried. Okay. All BS aside, all the crazy stuff that happened, I know they tried their best. But the one thing that I will say that, without question, if I watched something and they wanted me to understand at a young age that it was a movie, that it wasn't real, and that sort of thing, if I seen something that really was not, on the up and up, right away, they explained what was up. Okay. My parents did their best to take an active role. Okay. That's not to say that, that I didn't do what every other kids did. Absolutely, Brenda. Absolutely. Um, and that's the way it is some of the time this day and age. Um, as a matter of fact, well, and see, their kids are getting into places that they shouldn't be. Over on TikTok, I'm actually extremely, extremely loosely affiliated with a couple of big TikTokers. We're talking extremely loosely affiliated with some big ones. And then I work with a few other big ones. There you go, Chairman. That's what's up. I do work with some bigger, some bigger names. Some big names over there a little bit, and have even made friends with a preacher that is an ally of the LBGTQIA plus community. Holy crap, I got it out without getting tongue tied. Dang, I must be getting better. That's why I call them my alphabet mafia, because they got to stick together. They got to stick together, and they got to trust their allies. I'm an ally, okay, of the community. And so, and I do an occasional video, and him and I kind of work together a little bit. I haven't been over on TikTok in probably about 3 days, but I need to get over there. But Cinnamon has been a rallying point for some of them. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful that character could do that. And we knew that was a thing all the way back after the second makeup, before there was actually Cinnamon, before um, Cinnamon was an actual thing when you could say the early stages of development. Okay, when uh, when we were kind of toying with the idea of developing that character. Oh, you don't usually see those over here in Missouri. We got a lot of racist type people and bigots and yeah. I mean, we got so many bigots that you could start driving them into the ground like fence posts and make a heck of a wall. Heck, that's honestly what I think the former president should have done. Instead of trying to build a wall, he should have just took all the bigots from Missouri, start driving them into the fence posts. He could have covered that whole border. Trust me, from one coast to the other, no problem. Gulf of Mexico covered, from Gulf of Mexico all the way over to Baja. Yep, there's plenty. We got them. And so you're not going to see a whole lot in the way. We're definitely going to, I've got to get on there and just try. And I'm just going to fuck around with it and see what we got. But I got to dick with it on a day off, basically. I might holler at Ron. Ron's the one who really knows how to set that up. I got to holler at him and see if I can get in touch with him and have him talk me through it. Because as soon as he talks me through it, I'll be able to do it for anybody then. So, where was I going with all of this? Basically, Cinnamon would be a good one to have at one of those pride parades, and I would love it if I was asked to have Cinnamon at one of these pride parades. Um, Absolutely, it would be an honor, because Cinnamon is a character that is all about reminding people. It's one of those things I started kind of looking at it and I got confused real easy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Kevin, you know how to do StreamYards. I think you've got my Facebook. Holler at me if you know how to set it up. Well, that's true, but it's one of those things because I'm only an ally. I don't, and it's their parade. It's their parade. So, as an ally, if I'm asked, out of respect, it's a respect thing. If I was asked, I would do it. I would definitely do it. And I know Princess Bay would be on board because you know, she knows I'm really set on being, you know, okay, really. Oh shoot, I've known it's been a thing. It allows you to do the panels. I think Brenda, don't you also run a StreamYard? You've got StreamYards as well? Absolutely. Thank you for that, Meowgrid. And you bring up a good point. Meowgrid and I come from the early days of the internet. And parents did not pay, if parents didn't pay close enough attention, which, I mean, they probably knew more than we think. Okay. They know more than they tell us. All right. Period. They always did. Okay, so you're right there, Ian. And we know how to sneak around on the internet. Well, here's the thing. Um, Out of the gate, I want to say, parents, watch your kids because they're going to get into some shit if you ain't watching. Okay? The internet has a lot of predatory people running around. What's this internet you think of? I'm broken, Mike. I love you, man. You know, so again, we're back to that whole thing. Pay attention to your kids. Pay attention to your kids. All right. Um, you know, it's not my responsibility to watch your kids. Okay. And it's not the internet's responsibility to watch your kids. Okay. Well, Broken Mike, that's that fancy World Wide Web that we all know about too well. That's where you get on that funny looking thing that looks kind of like a television, and you type on this thing that has a keyboard like a typewriter, and it's plugged into a box. And it makes this funny noise occasionally. Yeah. And the next thing you know, you can get information you didn't know. Well, gosh darn. You know, and I know, it's been a while since we've done an in your face kind of like this, where it's like, guys, heads up, we got a problem. you know, Mikey G. Again, and I don't want to be that guy that says, hey, watch your fucking kids, and if you ever been in a McDonald's before the pandemic, working at McDonald's in the maintenance department, and you go into a playland on a Sunday morning after all the churches have let out, watch your fucking kids. Seriously. They're running around screaming. I went in there one day into the one McDonald's I worked at before I transferred, and I kid you not, in the playland, there's Jungle Jim standing right next to him. And the kids are walking along the windowsill. I walk in there, parents sitting there playing on their cell phone, not even paying attention, didn't even care. And what happens? I walk in, I get one look, and I just go. Parent looks at their kid, says, get off of that windowsill. And I just mouthed, thank you, and walked away. They knew that I was getting ready to blow my stack. And at that point, when you're in a situation like that, considering that it was unsafe, my job would have been to go get the manager that is in charge, because you may have several managers there, but there's only going to be one that's fully in charge of all the doings. You tell them to review the video footage from the CCT, the CC television cameras that are all over the inside of a McDonald's, and you have them go talk to the parents and basically say, because you can't control your kids, you got to go. Safety issue. It's a safety issue. If that kid would have fell through the window, we would have been the ones to blame, because it's our restaurant, and that's how it is. And you'll see this all the time. Kids running right through, too busy sitting there doing this. Talk to somebody who doesn't even, hasn't even seen their kids, and since they were born. But get off your phone, pay attention to your kids. That's their favorite thing to do. Or take them over to an outdoor playground. Oh, but the outside, the sunlight, that's not good for them. That's why they fortify the dairy products here in the United States with vitamin D. Yeah, I just said that. Shoot. Oh, same thing over there? Yeah. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a funny story. I didn't even get a chance to eat my crew meal. I didn't get to take my break. I was on maintenance that day. And, so I'm like, you know what? I need to eat something before I attempt to drive home, because my blood sugar was low. So already I'm in a pissy mood. I go out to the lobby and I sit down. Again, this was a couple years before the pandemic. I'm sitting there eating the meal that I should have gotten on my break. And I got okay. Yeah, all right, holler. So I get on, so I'm sitting there eating. I'm about done with my meal, and I look over at the drink station, and at our drink station, there's these ketchup dispensers. You pull the nozzle, and CO2 pushes into a bag and basically pushes the ketchup up this tube into out this dispenser. I know this because I work on the equipment. So it pumps the ketchup out. Well, these kids are over there pulling that lever, squirting ketchup more or less all over my countertop. And I had just cleaned it that morning. Actually, I had just cleaned it before I clocked off. And I mean, I could see red. And it wasn't ketchup. Yeah, it was the ketchup that was red, but I was seeing like red, you know. I looked over, I said, "Excuse me." And those kids looked over. I said, "Do y'all not realize I work here?" They kind of looked at each other. I said, "All right." I said, "I want you to look over there." I said, "See that thing on the ceiling?" "Yeah." "Look over there. See that thing on the ceiling?" "Yeah." "And I want you to look right there. See that thing on the ceiling?" "Yeah." I said, "Wave at those. You're on camera." I said, if I see that again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab my manager. My store manager just happens to be in the building. I said, I will grab that store manager and I will tell her what I just seen. She will then grab your parent or guardian and show them the video footage. After they're done with the video footage, you guys will be escorted out of the building, even if it has to be by police escort, and you will be told not to come back. I said, is that what you want? No. No. If I see it again, you're out of here. And it was like that. And those kids were like, wow.
Are you okay? You were going crazy.
Oh, no, I'm speaking about bad parenting.
Oh. I didn't have any context, so it just sounded like you were angry. And I was like, oh, no, my honey.
No, I'm fine, baby. But yeah. And I told my store manager afterwards about it. And she's like, Prince Magnum? She's like, now that's dad work right there. That's some serious dad work. Mikey G says hi. She's like, that's some serious dad work right there, Prince Magnum. She's like, you're tough, but you're fair. I said, that's the way I like it. You know, so again, it's not that, you know, it's back to, you know, watch damn kids. If I'd have done anything like that, my parents would have whipped me so dang hard, my spleen would have flown out of my mouth. Not a joke. Dang, you know. I'm actually old enough to remember that it was time to come in when we seen the streetlights come on. That whole thing that goes around on Facebook. I actually remember that. Or when the sun started, you know, when you still had just a little bit of daylight. You know, it was, you know, that point where it wasn't quite dark, but you still had to, then you get your ass inside, because I also lived in some country areas where you didn't exactly have dusted on lights. So you had to go in when the sun started going down. So that's just kind of how it is. So again, you know, we're back to, you know, I see bad parenting regularly. Going to a McDonald's and just find a corner and sit back and watch, especially if it's got a playland, and especially if you're doing it on a Sunday. That is the best time to see it. Guaranteed. You ever want to see it? Trust me. Wow. It has been like rainy nonstop here, Ian, for like the last 3 days. The last 3 days. And I have still got that hammer project. I'll show you guys what I'm working on. And I didn't quite get all the, you know, from doing the polish job. I got to go in and take out that rust, which you can see it on camera. But I got to go in and kind of polish it up a little bit. I'll have to go in with a Dremel. And this is ball peen hammers that I'm restoring. I'm doing the videos on it, but yeah. Not exactly safe. So there you have that. So we're gonna doll these up and get them all done up real nice. But I haven't been able to finish them up because it's been raining outside. As a matter of fact, I even got this one spot here that I gotta, fix because of the fact that it's, all jacked up. But oh, that sucks. I need to do a video on how to wash your car at home on the cheap. I need to do that video. I think you guys would like that one. But we'll wait for Project Spirit to be. We could probably use Nala for it. We could do that. Yeah. I think Princess May will be down for that. It's something that anybody could do. All righty. So that's kind of where we stand right now. We're going to be, I've got video that I've been working on restoring. Ian will tell you he actually has seen where we actually, there's quite a few of you that remember this. This is the axe that we redid here on the channel during the pandemic. Kid, you gotta borrow some of our rain. We'd be glad to give it to you. But I don't know if it works that way. But yeah, you all remember this guy when we restored him last year. The dust storm. So yeah. Yep. So y'all remember that. This thing was actually, you guys remember when it was a giant piece of, basically it was just a chunk of rust. And we cleaned it up, redid it, even put a nice shine on it, and even did the handle in the middle of the stream, and I even touched it up where I didn't like the way that it felt down here at the bottom, so we just lopped it off, and it actually works very well. I feel very comfortable with it, and I have used it numerous times. Chopping wood. Hey, Ian, wood for the win. I think that reminds me, Ian, I may be making my own hammer handle. Because this one is garbage. Yep, working on it in a live stream. Yep, this handle is absolute garbage. They did such a poor job doing this hammer handle, so I may actually be making my own hammer handle. So Ian, wood for the win, right? Actually, at some point, maybe I need to even show how to make certain tools out of out of wood for doing body work. Yes, that's actually a thing. Basically, you flatten this down and you could put it on certain parts of the metal. You take your hammer. Absolutely. And then you pound on the metal, feathering it ever so much, where it reshapes the metal where it's supposed to be. So you just tap that out like that, and you got to hit it pretty solid, which I've got a 1 pound sledge for that. Yep. You get long pieces like this. You could reach into places and boom, boom. When you can't get to certain spots on a vehicle to pound those dents out. Which I need to show how to actually do that. Because a lot of the stuff, you can buy it, but they charge an arm and a leg. It's like, you're going to charge me that much money for something that I could probably make for myself out of a block of wood. But do you know how many people, and what those manufacturers will pack them as? Professional body work, body repair kits. Well, if you're going to go there, wood for the win. Yeah, Ian was that poor piece of wood. He got, whenever it's talking about that poor piece of wood in the cinnamon live stream. Yeah. So we're definitely going to be, I'm probably going to have to make a hammer handle. I know at some point we may be doing another axe, but we're going to have to get a couple really neat little, we're probably going to have some fun with it. We're probably going to have some really cool fun with it, but I won't tell you guys. I can just tell you that it's going to be cool as fuck. Absolutely. So that's the excitement there. Trying to think of anything else, but we pretty well covered it all today. Again, normally the channel is about trying to bring a positive message, which in this case, the only thing I can tell you is that we are not changing anything with Cinnamon, but we're just going to be a little bit more active in protecting the Cinnamon character. And for any of our young folks, it's not that we don't want you to be a part of the Prince Magnum channel. You little mavericks have your place here on the channel. But interacting with a character like Cinnamon, you're not ready yet. Get a few more years under your belt, and you're more than welcome to interact with a character like that. But you're not there yet. You've got some growing of your own to do as an individual. I've been on my journey for 41 years. You guys are just getting a good start. But and because of that, a character like that doesn't want, it's not that they don't like you. It's not that Cinnamon doesn't like you. It's just that Cinnamon's not ready to interact with you. And despite the fact that Cinnamon is a fictional character, I could tell you that, because I'm the mind behind the actual personality, the character, if you will. I could tell you that character doesn't want anything to do with you guys just yet. You're not ready. Want you to be a part of the character's life, just not yet. Get a few years under your belt, and then we'll talk. Okay? So, just you're not ready yet. And in the meantime, we're going to hold you to the fact that you're not ready yet. And basically, the responsibility of a lot of us content creators here on YouTube to protect a character that has done a lot of, helping an alternative community and helping, and reminding, couples to keep it interesting. Oh, we're getting ready to wind it down there, Brooke and Mike. Thank you for that, Brenda. So basically, well, Cinnamon's an important character to a lot of people. And let me tell you all right now, before I was having problems getting connected back to my Discord, we had where someone actually private messaged me on Discord and told me that that by putting on the makeup and being as comfortable as I was, that it gave them hope. It gave them hope, and it gave them strength to be themselves. And then they sent me back pictures of them, basically their transgender pictures. I have never been, I basically have never been so flattered that I could make a positive influence in my life. I mean, there's been times, not like this. This was something different. I'm talking about outside of, drugs and alcohol, recovery. I'm talking about just in normal, what you guys might consider normal everyday life. I've never had something like this happen. So this was a new experience. 1 week later, after another makeup live stream, this was after the third time, I had an actual person at work that I worked with come up and say, I'm transgender. And you've given me strength to live my life. Before, I honestly didn't feel like, anybody could ever, anybody outside of my community could ever understand, but you do, evidently. And and in fairness, no, I really don't, because I don't walk in your shoes. But a lot of people needed to get out of my way so I can learn who I wanted to be. So it's my responsibility as a decent human being to get out of your way and let you become who you're supposed to be. I'm only there for guidance. And so, Ian. Well, Ian, I was making jokes about, Cinnamon jacking off that chunk of wood over the weekend that you got so excited about. Did it make your wiener twitch? Anyhow. he's gonna come back. Damn you, Brent. He's getting ready to come back with "Damn you, Prince," getting him like that. No, just no. But anyhow, like grab So again, we have to protect here on this channel and several other YouTube channels because of and those are just a few of the stories, obviously. Those are just a handful of the stories that's come back. Big streamer hugger to you, Ian. Nothing but love. Oh my gosh. So now that I have said all of that, again, we have to, this is one of these times that I have a character to protect here on YouTube. And I know many of you that have had Cinnamon interact with your channels absolutely want to protect that character as well. That make your wiener twitch? Oh my God. So, and I know a lot of other people will be on board to protect the characters. So any, any children that's part of our regular group that usually attends the pre-show or Tuesday Night Madness, basically, if they try to interact in a Cinnamon live stream, they will get a 1 week ban from any of the channels that are connected like that. Basically, in the tight-knit community that I'm a part of, basically they'll be banned from any of the Fortnite streams, for a week, or if you will, as I like to say it, they'll be grounded for a week. Okay. Oh, thank you, Broken Mike. Big streamer hug to you, Broken Mike. So hands down, bar none, it's a protecting of the character. Oh my gosh. The question is it Mikey G or is it Broken Mike? Which is it? Could it be both? Anyhow, I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at on this. Basically, it's like if any of the kids try to interact with Cinnamon during a Cinnamon live stream, we can't help it if they're there. But the moment they say something, we know they're there. Basically, they'll keep getting timed out every time they say something, and then we've got your name, we got your number, and then we'll basically you're grounded for a week. Come here, you. Oh no. I got something special for you. Oh no! Y'all wonder how I do the character of Cinnamon because I could do multiple voices. Because I could do different voices, and now you've seen it, I could do several different voices. But Mama, I don't want to go to ballet class. Kids make fun of me. Will do, Kevin. I holler. It's good to see you. I'm glad you were here today. So again, it's not that we don't want the kids to be a part of the Prince Magnum channel. We love our little Mavericks, okay? We love the little Mavericks, but when they're old enough, then they can go on and be, they can go on and just be, awesome little, young Mavericks out there. We want them to grow up into good, solid young Mavericks. But there's some things that our little Mavericks are not ready for, and a Cinnamon live stream is one of them. Okay, and so parents, watch your kids, pay attention to what they're watching, because if they're getting into a Cinnamon live stream, I can guarantee they're getting into other places they shouldn't be. And there's a lot of people that prey on children like that. Please don't leave your children susceptible to something like that. Okay. And I'm going to give you all a horror story before we let out, kind of food for thought. Okay. Food for thought. I have went through one of the things that no parent should ever have to go through. The 13-year-old son that you hear me talk about, Devin, when he was almost 3 years old, I went through the experience where he was kidnapped. This is not a joke, folks. I went through the experience of having a child kidnapped. And it was by his own mother. His own mother that regularly is in and out of jail, in and out of prison. Okay. Now that I've said that, she asked me to get him his sippy cup, and she made a bolt for it. If I had not turned my back for just 10 seconds, I would have never have had to go through that experience. So I have had the experience of having a child kidnapped, and it only took just those few seconds. By the way, I did have a loaded shotgun nearby, and if I'd had it, if I did not have buckshot loaded in it, I would have had a slug. I might have taken her out, because I was to the point where I almost, basically as I was running to the door, if I'd have grabbed the shotgun and would have got a bead on the front tire, I would have taken out her tire, and she would have been dog meat. But I was in such a panic, I forgot to grab it. So I actually was close enough to put a stop to it, but I couldn't because I was in such a panic. And if I had not turned my back for a split second, basically. So watch your kids, okay? Because I know that experience, and you never get over it. Ever. So y'all ever wonder why I'm so screwed up? It's from moments like that. Okay. So now that I've given you all a little food for thought, something to make you think. If you're watching the playback or you're watching it live right now, I appreciate you all being here. Basically, I've got a character to protect, and here is and you just got your PSA. Okay. You can't always watch him for every split second, but dang it. Don't turn your back too long. Okay. Just don't turn your back too long. And that's the greatest PSA I could ever give a parent. So now that I've said that and given you all a horror story, I've given all the parents some real nightmare fuel now. Now that I've said that, I do want to end it on a positive note. The character Cinnamon will continue to soldier forward, continuing to remind people to be themselves and continue to be a rallying point for the LGBTQIA plus community. Holy shit, I did that twice in a stream without stumbling over the initials. She will continue to do that. Cinnamon will continue to remind couples to keep it spicy when that bedroom door closes. Cinnamon will continue to remind people that they're beautiful for just being themselves. And she will continue to make you laugh as long as you're of adult consent. Now that I've said that, for all of you out there, get out there and work on a project. Don't care what it is. Just do something with yourselves. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind go together like oil and water. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet. Do something special for them today. And as always, for all of you out there, if no one out there has told any of you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you and have a happy 24. Thank you.